spotted out and about a number of times with bandages on his hands. Could you please explain what that is about? Secondly, he noted on Truth Social the other day that he had aced 3 cognitive tests. Could you please clarify when those tests took place?
I can do that at a later date. I obviously don't have that in front of me. The president has spoken about that quite extensively throughout the years. As for the bandages on the hand, we've also given you an explanation for that in the past. The president is literally constantly shaking hands. The Oval Office is like Grand Central Terminal. He is meeting with more people than any of you even know about on a daily basis. He's also on a daily aspirin regimen, which is something his physical examinations has said in the past as well, which can contribute to that bruising that you see.
President Trump's cardiovascular imaging was perfectly normal. No evidence of arterial narrowing impairing blood flow or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there are no signs of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. Everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns. In summary, this level of detailed assessment is standard for an executive physical at President Trump's age and confirms that he remains in excellent overall health.
Donald Trump's medical records sought in lawsuit. Ooh, boy. This isn't going to go well. What's going on, y'all? So, in the last video, I was talking about how, I never have time to cover anything positive in the news because most of it's always negative and I just don't ever have the time to. But we actually have a couple of things that are sort of positive popping up, and this is one of them. So, we're going to get into this lawsuit that is between the Pulitzer Prize Board and Donald Trump. And I'm going to discuss, what I think is going to happen. Before we do, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell as well so that you get a notification when I drop videos. It helps me grow the channel. All of this is completely free and it means the world to me. Okay, cool. Let's get it. So Trump, as we all know, is infamous for suing literally anyone and everyone over the most frivolous nonsense. He sued Bill Maher for $5 million over a joke. I think Bill Maher called him an ugly orange gorilla or something like that. And Trump tried to sue him. He sued ABC over he didn't like the way that they edited a Kamala Harris interview. He sued the BBC for $10 billion. It has hit such a ridiculous point with Trump and the lawsuits. It is as silly as his use of the pardon power, where he's pardoned, over 1,500 January 6th rioters. And we went on to find out that a lot of them were rapists and pedophiles and went on to commit more crimes after they were released. Trump pardoned the CEO of Binance, CZ, crypto billionaire. He pardoned some other crypto guy. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but the website that he ran was literally used to buy and sell drugs. And guess what the number one drug that people were buying and selling on that crypto exchange? Wait for it, drum roll. Fentanyl. Yeah, so the number one, enemy of the United States, which Trump has now announced that he's done an executive order to designate fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction so that they can invade Venezuela. I'll get into that in a little bit. But, the guy who's so serious about drugs is releasing the biggest drug traffickers in the world. He released the Honduran president. He pardoned the Honduran president, who was a convicted drug trafficker and probably the largest drug trafficker in this hemisphere since El Chapo. And so it's completely insane. And this is an insane lawsuit, and we're going to read about it, and then I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are after the fact. So let's get into it. Now, this is from Newsweek, but I've also read similar articles in the Daily Beast. It says, responding to President Donald Trump's defamation lawsuit against them, the Pulitzer Prize Board has asked a Florida court to compel Trump to hand over his tax returns, financial records, and full medical and psychological files in a sweeping discovery request aimed at testing his claims of reputational and emotional harm. Now, to give you a little bit of the backstory, this is over the Pulitzer Board awarding the Pulitzer Prize of Journalism to the Washington Post and the New York Times. because they covered the Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election, and then Trump decided to sue them because he's a dipshit. Because he literally sues people over everything. Now, what's really important is that, like, no matter which way this goes, it is not going to go well for Trump. So they continue. The Pulitzer Board will not be cowed by the president's attempt to intimidate journalists or undermine the First Amendment, they said, which, oh my God, thank God that somebody is finally standing up to this bloated buffoon. Because, like, the real problem that we have is that so many people in the media are just, they like bend over and they just like fold for Trump because they're afraid they're going to lose access or something like that, or they're afraid they're not going to get a merger. Like, it's so easy to just push back. Like, what do they say about, like, you just punch a bully in the face? Like, Trump has nothing. He's so silly. Anyway, it continues. Why this matters. If the board's discovery request is granted, Trump could be forced to make his medical records public, potentially fueling new scrutiny of his health as questions swirl around recurring bruises on his hand and the revelation that the president has had at least 3 cognitive exams this year, as well as an MRI scan. Now, it goes without saying, taking 3 cognitive exams in 1 year is not normal. Getting a MRI is not a part of your routine annual checkup. Getting 2 checkups as an annual checkup is not routine. And I've talked about this already. It's very obvious that Trump is in declining health. Physically, he's got the bruising on his hand, but he also swollen ankles. He's got the weird, like, mouth droop we've seen him with a couple of times where people are saying, like, maybe he's had a mini stroke or something like that. He was seen with, like, what looked like a catheter bag on his leg at one point. He's got the abnormal gait. He can't walk straight. And then as far as, like, the mental thing goes, I mean, he can't complete sentences. He's lashing out at reporters, saying, like, "Quiet, piggy," and saying, like, "What are you, stupid? That's a stupid question. That's such a stupid question." Like, he's completely disinhibited. And not to mention, he's falling asleep in his cabinet meetings. So there's definitely something going on with Trump that they do not, under any circumstances, want people to know about. It continues. According to the filing, the requests aim to uncover evidence relevant to Trump's claims for damages, specifically any physical or psychological injury, and to test his assertions about alleged reputational harm caused by the board's defense of its 2018 reporting awards covering the Russia investigation. This is just chef's kiss. This is just beautiful, man. So, yeah, he's saying, you know, like, I was harmed, you know, this is defamation, whatever. And they're just going, okay, so if you're seeking damages, why don't you go ahead and produce your financials, go ahead and produce your tax returns, produce your medical records, your psychological records, show everybody how damaged you were. This is just perfect. This is just like, no notes, 10 out of 10. This is great. Now here's what's probably going to happen. Trump's going to drop the case. There's no shot in hell he's going to release his medical records. We already know a little bit about his financials, because part of the reason why that got out was the Letitia James case. I mean, like, Trump is a convicted felon, and we know that because Letitia James proved in a court of law that Trump is liable of tax fraud, bank fraud, insurance fraud, real estate fraud, right? So, like, that part we know. We don't know exactly how corrupt Trump is, but we have a pretty good idea because he wears it on his sleeve. Whether you're talking about, you know, like, allowing billionaires to donate to the ballroom that he wants to build, or whether it's, you know, like, selling Trump watches to people that don't actually exist. It's just a way to launder money. All of this garbage, the meme coin that he sold to his supporters, the Trump meme coin, all of this garbage, is just a way to very corruptly funnel money to himself. And so, like, we already kind of know that. What we know shockingly little about is Trump's actual medical health. And if you think about it, Trump never releases anything. His doctors, will say that he's in excellent health, but like Trump says he's 215 and 6'3". It's a total joke, right? We don't know anything about his medical health because they are desperately trying to keep that under wraps because something very serious is going on with Trump in the same way that something very serious was going on with Biden. And I was calling it out back in the day where I said, look, Biden's brain is falling out of his ears. Like, he's too old to be president. He's got to go. The same thing is happening to Trump. And what I think is going to happen is he's probably going to drop the lawsuit because he will not let that information out under any circumstances whatsoever. And to the extent that he does, it's going to be heavily, heavily doctored. Is that where that term comes from, by the way? Doctored information? Anyway, pun intended. But I think he's going to drop the suit because he's not going to release the records and he's not going to be able to prove that he was actually damaged in any way, right? And the other part of this that it's a win no matter what is that if he doesn't release his medical records, which he claims, I had a perfect MRI, I had a perfect cognitive test, I had a perfect annual exam, is like, he's not going to release this information, which is just going to draw even more questions about his failing health. Anyway, guys, if you made it this far, make sure you do like that video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for a notification, leave me a comment to feed the YouTube algorithm, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.